Okay, so we all know summer heat can be uncomfortable, right? Maybe even annoying. But have you ever stopped to think about, well, the really profound ways extreme heat is changing things, our health, our cities, even our communities? Today, we're definitely going beyond just the sweat factor. We want to uncover how rising temperatures, amplified by climate change, are hitting us on so many different levels. We're doing a real deep dive into the impacts of heat, and we've gathered quite a stack of sources to help us figure this out.
Exactly. Yeah, for this deep dive, we've looked through quite a range. Scientific studies, sure, but also reports from government bodies like the CDC and EPA and analyses from advocacy groups, too. Our mission really is to pull out what these sources are telling us, find the key insights, and maybe connect some dots that aren't always obvious. See those surprising links.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Given how serious this sounds, what about the immediate, the sort of most devastating impact? What are the sources saying about the direct human cost? I mean, beyond just feeling hot.
Well, the human cost is.
Hmm.
It's stark. There's a study, Ballester et al., from 2023. It looked at Europe, and it estimated that just in the summer of 2022, the heat-related mortality burden, it was around 61,672 deaths.
Wow, 61,000.
61,672.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the scary thing is, this isn't just some isolated blip. It really highlights that these extreme events, they're becoming, well, almost the norm. It signals we need a big shift in how we think about public health in the face of this.
Okay, so that huge number represents a trend. But here's where it gets really interesting for me. Can we actually link specific heat waves, like recent ones, directly to climate change? Is that connection getting clearer?
Yes, absolutely. It's moving beyond just general trends now. We looked at a source from the World Weather Attribution Group. They're scientists who do rapid analysis, connecting extreme weather to climate change.
Okay.
They looked at that intense heat in southern Europe back in June 2025. And their analysis, it concluded that that specific event was made, and this is their wording, more likely and more intense because of climate change.
Ah, so a direct fingerprint.
Exactly. It's not just a vague background factor anymore. This science allows us to say, yes, climate change made this heat wave worse, this specific tragedy more likely. It brings it home.
That's sobering. So, okay, we have these tragic death tolls, but let's drill down a bit. How does this heat actually harm our bodies?
Yeah.
Physiologically, what's going on?
Right. So the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, their 2022 guidance is really helpful here. It explains the cardiovascular impact pretty clearly. Basically, when it gets really hot, your body has to work much, much harder to cool itself down. You sweat more, your blood vessels dilate to release heat.
Okay, that makes sense.
But all that extra work, it makes your heart rate climb significantly. Plus, you can get dehydrated easily, which throws off your electrolytes, those salts and minerals your body needs for, well, everything. Nerve function, muscles.
Right, right.
And here's the crucial bit. If you already have heart problems or other cardiovascular issues, this heat puts an enormous extra strain on your system. It can make existing conditions much worse.
And that raises a big question, doesn't it, about healthcare systems? Are they ready for this kind of strain, especially if these heat events keep getting worse?
That's exactly the question we need to be asking. Are we prepared? Because the data suggests this pressure is only going to increase.
Okay, so the individual health impacts are clear, but it's not just about our bodies in isolation, is it? It scales up. Our cities, for instance. You hear about urban heat islands. How do they actually work? Are cities making it worse?
They absolutely are. It's called the urban heat island effect. And the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, they laid it out in 2022. Essentially, all the stuff we build cities with, roads, buildings, concrete, asphalt, they absorb way more sunlight, more solar radiation than, say, fields or forests.
Okay.
And then they hold on to that heat and release it slowly. Plus, you often have less tree cover in cities, lots of dark surfaces, and even waste heat coming off air conditioners. It all adds up.
So what's the actual temperature difference we're talking about?
It can be pretty significant. The EPA says urban areas can be anywhere from 1 to 7 degrees Fahrenheit hotter during the day.
7 degrees.
Yeah. And even at night, when things should cool down, they can stay 2 to 5 degrees warmer than surrounding rural areas.
Wow.
So if you connect that back, our cities are basically amplifying the heat problem. The way we've designed them is making these rising temperatures even more dangerous for the people living in them.
That really changes how you think about city living in the summer. But it's probably not the same for everyone within the city, is it? Is this heat burden shared equally? Or do some groups feel it more?
You've hit on a critical point. No, it's definitely not shared equally. The impact is uneven. We looked at a report from the Union of Concerned Scientists from 2021.
Oh,
called Killer Heat in the United States,
okay.
and it highlights really significant racial disparities. They found that communities of color, specifically Black, Hispanic, and Asian American populations in the U.S., are disproportionately exposed to extreme heat.
Why is that? What's the connection?
Well, it often links back to where people live within cities. These communities are more likely to be in urban areas that have fewer green spaces, like parks and trees,
Right.
and more impervious surfaces, pavement, dense buildings, things that trap heat. And this isn't accidental. It often connects to historical underinvestment in these neighborhoods, sometimes legacies of things like redlining. Discriminatory practices essentially designed these hotter environments in certain areas.
So, past injustices are literally baked into the landscape, making people more vulnerable today.
Precisely. That disproportionate exposure means higher rates of heat-related sickness and even death in these specific groups. It turns extreme heat from just an environmental issue into a really serious social justice issue.
Hmm.
The impacts intersect directly with existing inequalities.
Okay, so let's try and pull these threads together. What we've seen from digging into these sources today is, well, heat is a much bigger deal than we might think. It affects our health directly, straining our bodies. It gets amplified in our cities by the way we build them. And, crucially, it doesn't hit everyone the same. It makes existing inequalities, like racial disparities, even worse. It's really this complex web, not just a hot day.
Absolutely. It's all interconnected. And that really leads us to a final thought, something for you, the listener, to really chew on. Now that you've heard about these connections, individual health, city design, social equity, how might really understanding these intertwined impacts drive better solutions? More holistic ones? What kinds of actions could you maybe see happening or even initiate in your own community to start tackling these challenges, knowing how complex they really are?
That's a powerful question to end on. Hopefully, the insights from this deep dive give you a clearer lens to see this issue and, yeah, maybe spark some ideas for your own further exploration.